ॐ भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते। तप्तकाञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णकृष्णविद्ये भवपादप्रिय श्री गिरिराजाय स्वामी सुभक्षारदास बिहारी गुणवत्तेश्चात्मदाय। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णकृष्णविद्ये श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चाचार्य शतारि मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं। Hare Krishna. So we are reading Bhagavad Gita 3. We are on text I think so this is about how to work for Krishna. So therefore, O Arjun, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. So this Bhagavad Gita is, let's say, for beginners and for most advanced also. It's going to apply at all stages of life. When we have understood, when we practice in our life, we become more and more self-realized. So we will come back to our Bhagavad Gita. There's no doubt about it. We come back to it. So here this is the art of work. How to work for Krishna so that we don't commit sinful activities, we don't get entangled in this material world, and how we become eligible to come out from the cycle of birth and death. So this is a basic instruction. So I can't go back to revise, otherwise it's unending. So therefore, O Arjun, surrendering all your works unto me, whatever we may be doing, we should do it now, Krishna is saying, with full knowledge of me. Why is it that we are studying this Bhagavad Gita? So that we are aware, so whatever action, whatever activities we do it with fully conscious, with awareness. Alright? Because when you're aware what you are doing, then you are awake. Alright? Otherwise we just do things like in that sleeping mode. Right? Sleeping mode. So we want to be fully conscious and aware of what we are doing, without desires for profit. Because if we want profit, then it means that I want sense gratification, and therefore it means that I want this body. This body is meant for sense gratification, and every body in this material world and every object in this material world is for sense gratification. Therefore, the whole game between living beings, the whole game for supremacy starts. You know, like you want this, and then as soon as you think, oh, somebody else also wants it, right? So then the whole game for supremacy starts. So here, you know, it's so unfortunate that Bhagavad Gita is no longer taught from childhood, because how much better human beings we will produce if we are aware of what is this world. We will know how to interact with each other, and we will also know when others are trying to capture us. Right? So now we are in such ignorance, total and absolute ignorance. So therefore, Arjun, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine, you know? And free from lethargy, fight. The basic example is that if you own a house, alright? When you die, all of you know this. When the person dies, he dies and he goes away, he leaves behind the house, right? He or she is forced to live behind the house. And then what happens next?
Someone else captured.
Immediately there is going to be fight for that house. Right? Immediately. There's going to be fight. I mean, in this there is like shamelessly, the person has hardly left, and immediately the quarrel will start over who owns the house or who will control the house. Very shameless. So with no claims to proprietorship and free from lethargy, fight. So I think we have discussed this one. We're going to go in it again. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully, without envy, become free from the bondage of fruitive action. So, the duty of everyone is to follow the instructions of Krishna. All right? And Krishna is giving his instruction in the Vedic Shastra. So when we throw away the whole Vedic system, then we no longer know, oh, what am I supposed to do? So when say we must follow Krishna's instruction, we say, what are his instructions? Because we have thrown away the entire Vedic system. Therefore, we no longer know what I'm supposed to do. And then we get so used to breaking the instructions of Krishna that to reinstate his order is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. So we are in a very, very dangerous, very pathetic situation right now. Text 32. Ye tvetad abhyashuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvagyana vimudham stan vidhinastahamachetasah. Yeah.
Ye those two, however, etat this abhyashuyantah out of envy, na do not, anutishyanti regularly perform me my matam injunction, sarvagyana in all sorts of knowledge, vimudhan perfectly befooled, tan they are, vidhi know it well, nashtan all ruined, achetasa without Krishna conscious. But those who, out of envy, disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. Purport by Divine Grace Prabhupada. The flaw of not being Krishna conscious is clearly stated herein, as there is punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Executive Head. So there is a certainly punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A disobedient person, however great he may be, is ignorant of his own self, of the Supreme Brahman, Paramatma, and Personality of Godhead, due to the vacant heart. Therefore, there is no hope of perfection of life for him.
Yeah, so here the flaw of not being Krishna conscious is clearly stated here. So if we are suffering, this is an indication of what?
Not being Krishna.
Of punishment. Right? If we are suffering, this is an indication of punishment by the law of the supreme law. And why are we being punished? Because we are disobeying the law of Krishna. And if we don't know what are the laws of Krishna, so this is extremely risky. If I believe I'm free to manufacture my own style of doing things, right? then this is a very dangerous position. Sadresham cheshtate swasya
सदृशं चेत् स्वस्य स्वस्यः
prakrite jnanavanapi
प्रकृते ज्ञानवानपि
prakritim yanti bhutani
Prakriti bhutani
nigrahatim kadishyati.
निग्रहातु करिष्यति Sadrisham, accordingly, chestate tries swasya by his own, prakrite modes of nature, jnanavan learned, api although, prakritim nature, yanti undergo, bhutani all living entities, nigraha repression, kim what, karishyati can do. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? Purport: unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, he cannot get free from the influence of the modes of material nature. As it is confirmed by the Lord in the 7th chapter, 7.14, therefore, even for the most highly educated person on the mundane plane, it is impossible to get out of the entanglement of Maya simply by theoretical knowledge or by separating the soul from the body. There are many so called spiritualists who outwardly pose as advanced in the science, but inwardly or privately are completely under particular modes of nature which they are unable to surpass. Academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he is in bondage. Krishna consciousness helps one to get out of the material entanglement, even though one may be engaged in his prescribed duties in terms of material existence. Therefore, without being fully in Krishna consciousness, one should not give up his occupational duties. No one should suddenly give up his prescribed duties and become a so called yogi or transcendentalist artificially. It is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Krishna consciousness under superior training. Thus, one may be freed from the clutches of Krishna's Maya.
So now this is a very intricate description. So we're going to analyze this. Okay, so even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? Right. So here is someone is in material nature. Right. This is a jeev. He is in material nature. All right. And now he wants to come to Krishna conscious platform, what we call transcendence. So this material nature has three gunas: Rajogun, Sattvagun, Rajas, and Tamas. Right? So these three gunas are completely locking this jeev inside the body. Right? So here Prabhupada is explaining, unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, he cannot get free from the influence of the modes of material nature, as it is confirmed by the Lord in the 7th chapter. In 7th chapter 7.14, Krishna is saying, Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. So these three gunas, they have captured us. They are like a huge fortress. And it's impossible. They are insurmountable. These three gunas are insurmountable. So here Prabhupada is saying that unless this jeep comes to this platform, he cannot get free from these three gunas. Okay, so this is the statement. All right, this is the first statement. Now Prabhupada is going to analyze and show how we can switch from material to transcendence. Therefore, even for the most highly educated person on the mundane plane, it is impossible to get out of the entanglement of Maya simply by theoretical knowledge or by separating the soul from the body. Now, which energy is acting upon this jeev? It is Maya. All right? This Maya, we already discussed, it's like a witch. It's like a spell that has come over us. So when that Maya, that energy, Maya Shakti, when it casts its grip on us, we are like crazy. We do crazy things, right? And whatever you may yourself try to do to stop you, you can't do it. And you can't listen to anybody. All right? So it just grips us. So here, in this verse, say that if you have mundane knowledge, what is the meaning of mundane knowledge? Yeah, knowledge of this material world, and even knowledge that there is a difference between body and soul. Even though you know this, like all of us, right? All of us, we know body and soul. There's a difference between body and soul. We know it, but it is only theoretical. All right? This is theoretical because we are not acting actually as if we are spirit souls. Right? Therefore, even for the most highly educated person on the mundane plane, so you may be educated, but you are on the mundane plane, it is impossible to get out of the entanglement of Maya simply by theoretical knowledge or by separating the soul from the body. There are so many so-called spiritualists who outwardly pose as advanced in the science, but inwardly or privately or completely under particular modes of nature which they are unable to surpass. You know, this may include Hare Krishna devotees also. All right? We are reading the books. We are doing things in a mechanical way. We are not actually connecting with Krishna. So this is why devotees, they go on studying bookish knowledge, especially now. People think that the degrees, okay, let me jump. Let me take a Bhakti Shastri degree, then let me jump, take a Bhakti Vaibhav degree, then let me take a Bhakti Vedanta degree, go on studying. Outwardly, you are looking very advanced in the science, but inwardly or privately. Just see what Prabhupada is writing. Inwardly or privately or completely under the particular mode, which they enable, and then what happens? Suddenly they vanish. They give up the process completely. All right? So, oh, I had this guru, I had this mentor, whatever, Shiksha Guru these days, there are so many of them, right? They taking Diksha also, taking Brahminical Diksha also, because their knowledge is only theoretical. One day they give up the process completely because inside they are not advancing. These modes of nature, so we have to be very careful also that we don't study Prabhupada's books in a mechanical, routine way or just to acquire philosophical knowledge. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the Trimurti. So what happened? Suddenly your inside nature will overpower you. All right? What you are not able to conceal. Academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he is in bondage. Krishna consciousness helps one to get out of the material entanglement, even though one may be engaged in his prescribed duties in terms of material existence. So now, here this person, he wants to become Bhakta Das, Bhaktin Dasi, okay? Or Bhakta Das, let's put it Bhakta Das. Okay? From here, he wants to switch to this, Bhakta Das. So what is he supposed to do? Prabhupada is explaining here. He should do wherever he is, in material existence, he should continue to do his own work. All right? Wherever he is. If he is a student, meaning a brahmachari, hopefully. If he is a grihastha, he should continue to be a grihastha. If he is a, let's say he's a medical person, if he's a clerk, if he's a security guy, if he is a lawyer, unfortunately these days lawyers, I don't know who else and what else. So whatever you may be, here you are, you and Maya, you want to become Bhakta Das. Method of transition is that you have to continue to do your own work according to what? Yes, prescribed duties. Prescribed duties. So, academically, one may be very learned because of his long association with material nature. Long association, right? So it's not that suddenly, you are going to just give up wherever you are and fly off to the spiritual sky, right? It doesn't work this way. So it's like that larva, a larva that becomes a butterfly. So that larva, there is an incubation period, right? And then when it's a very slow process. It is a system of metamorphosis. From a bug, it's going to become a beautiful butterfly, right? So you can't accelerate the process. So you see, that this entity is trying to come out of its shell, and foolish us, say, let me help it, right? Let me help it, let me pull it out from that shell. What will happen? Die. It may die or it may become crippled, right? So there is a method, there is a time when that entity is slowly changing from Jeev, Baddha Jeev to Mukta. All right? There is so in between is the prescribed duties. So Prabhupada is saying, he should do his prescribed duties in terms of material existence. Meaning that I'm a teacher, I'm a doctor, I'm a clerk, I'm a chowkidar, all these are simply our material existence. It has nothing to do with our spiritual swarup, our real roop. It has nothing to do with it. Therefore, without being fully in Krishna consciousness, one shouldn't give up his occupational duties. I've just given this example of the lava, right? You have to let the lava grow. Huh? He's changing his state of body into something else. It's amazing, right? What material nature, or this chicken, right, that comes out from that egg. No one should suddenly give up his prescribed duties and become a so-called yogi or transcendentalist artificially. It is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Krishna consciousness under superior training. All right? So meaning that from here to here, what is essential? Yeah, you need training. And it is what? Superior training. All right? Those who know should guide us. Right? And it may take a number of lifetimes. And remember that material nature is also a trainer. Right? Material nature is definitely a trainer. Meaning, if we deviate, we'll get slapped. Right? If we deviate from the path, right? Yeah. There's bound to be some reaction. So parents guide, teachers guide, this one guide, that one guide, and when you listen to nobody, then come the slap of material nature to put you on the path. All right?
Occupational duties are prescribed the same way.
Occupation duty means what, like your varna. Your varna. And the duties assigned in that particular varna, or your ashram. And the duties assigned in that particular ashram. All right?
Materialistic slaps you're calling. So do we call it like reality checks?
I don't know what that means. What does that mean? There's so many modern terms, everybody has their own. So what does that mean, reality check?
Like we learn from life, we get unsuccessful in our venture.
That's what it means, reality check.
Reality check means in terms of Krishna consciousness that you get a check. That how much you are following it, or like how correct you are.
Anyway, they use so many terms. I'm using my own term here. All right. So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying that it is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Krishna consciousness. Under superior training, thus one may be freed from the clutches of Krishna's Maya. All right? It is Krishna's Maya, but she's holding us. She's not letting go of us. But it is Krishna himself who will release us. And how we'll get released? By following his own instruction. So Krishna has himself, his instruction, and there is the grip of Maya, which belongs to him. So we create a make-believe world. So maybe we can wake up. So we call this wake-up call, right? So we wake up and then we fall face to face with the reality. All right? It's not the way I had imagined it or programmed my life. Okay, text 34. Indriyasyandriyasyarthe yes. Raga dvesha vyavasthita Dayonavasam agachetto Yasya paripantino. Okay.
Indriyasya of the senses, Indriyasyarthe in the sense objects, Raga attachment, Dveshau also detachment, Vyavastitau put under regulations, Tayo of them, Na never, Vasam control, Agachet one should come, Tau those, he certainly, Asya his, Paripantitnau stumbling blocks. There are principles to regulate attachments and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self realization. Those who are in Krishna consciousness are naturally reluctant to engage in material sense gratification. But those who are not in such consciousness should follow the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures. Unrestricted sense enjoyment is the cause of material engagement. But one who follows the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures does not become entangled by the sense objects. For example, sense enjoyment is a necessity for the conditioned soul, and sex enjoyment is allowed under the license of marriage ties. According to scriptural injunctions, one is forbidden to engage in sex relationships with any woman other than one's wife. All other women are to be considered as one's mother. But in spite of such injunctions, a man is still inclined to have sex relationships with other women. These propensities are to be curbed, otherwise, they will be stumbling blocks on the path of self realization. As long as the material body is there, the necessities of the material body are allowed, but under rules and regulations. And yet, one should not rely upon the control of such allowances. One has to follow those rules and regulations unattached to them, because practice of sense gratification under regulations may also lead one to go astray, as much as there is always the chance of an accident even on the royal roads. Although they may be very carefully maintained, no one can guarantee that there will be no danger even on the safest road. The sense enjoyment spirit has been current a very long time owing to material association. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must be avoided by all means. But attachment to Krishna consciousness or acting always in the loving service of Krishna detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. Therefore, no one should try to be detached from Krishna consciousness at any stage of life. The whole purpose of detachment from all kinds of sense attachment is ultimately to become situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness.
So now, here's the problem. So we are saying do our prescribed duties, right? We do the prescribed duties according to rules and regulations. What's the problem now?
But we may get attached to the rules and regulations.
Yes.
Spirit to enjoy.
Yeah. Meaning is allowing us to do something just like all of us. We've got our mobile phone, right? It's allowed because you can do so many Krishna conscious activities. But then when you just become so addicted to it, you start the beauty of home. But you no longer living in association with others, right? Right?
Yes.
So these rules and regulations themselves, because it is material, we are using the material energy, right? So when we are in touch with the material energy, it is always very, very risky. Because you don't know when this material energy can suddenly overpower you. And the example Prabhupada is giving here is sex life. So you get married, right? And stick to that one person. But even though there is a tendency for outside the rules and regulations. So here Prabhupada is saying that yet we should not rely upon the control of such allowances. One has to follow these rules and regulations and attach to them, because practice of sense gratification under regulation may also lead one to go astray. Just like on the royal road. Okay, royal road meaning is supposed to be free, right? So let me run at 150 kilometers, right? Not because it's an open freeway doesn't mean there'll be no accident. There may be accidents. So, although they may be very carefully maintained, no one can guarantee that there will be no danger even on the safest road. Why? Because the sense enjoyment spirit has been current a very long time owing to material association. It's there in the samskar. Alright, it's stuck. It's stuck in our samskar. And it's automatic. As soon as the sense object comes in front of us, the desire to enjoy is aroused. And this is due to material association. The body automatically reacts to sense gratification. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must also be avoided by all means, meaning without sense gratification. Just without sense gratification. Okay? Because sense gratification under rules and regulations is also dangerous, because you're dealing with a material energy. Material energy means Maya. Therefore, no one should try. Okay. But attachment to Krishna consciousness or acting always in the loving service of Krishna detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. So now we have a secret. We are fully entangled in material consciousness. Alright? But when we start doing service for Krishna, number one, it is chanting. Are you all chanting?
Yeah.
You chant? Everybody's chanting?
Yes.
How many rounds? So meaning the dosage is still less. Right? Right? Minimum point to have its effect is 16. Right? Unless we're chanting 16, even the dosage is still not sufficient. Right? So number one, what are Krishna conscious activities? Number one, we should be attached to chanting. Right? We should not be able to live without chanting, without paying obeisances to Krishna, without offering my food to Krishna. Right? Without getting a gift for Krishna. Right? What pleasure it is to buy a gift for Krishna. Right? So many activities that we can do directly for Krishna. Right? And speaking about Krishna to others, giving the knowledge about Krishna to others, collecting donation from people on behalf of Krishna. Right? These are all activities in Krishna consciousness. And whatever list I'm giving you, Srila Prabhupada has done all this himself. Right? Srila Prabhupada himself. He wrote the books, he distributed the books. Right? He went to the printer, he walked back and forth. I don't know how many of you have studied now Prabhupada in Amrita. You have seen what Prabhupada has done. Karishma, right? Now you know whatever we are being told to do, the founder Acharya has himself done. He didn't tell you, okay, you do, I won't do. He himself did it. Right? And he tell you, come and set up this room. The founder Acharya has swept the floor. Right? The founder Acharya has swept the floor and washed the dishes of the hippies. Right? Right? So, with attachment to Krishna consciousness, of acting always in the loving service of Krishna. You can say, okay, you know, at home I have servants who do this, I'm not going to do it for Krishna. Should be like Hanuman. Hanuman is my best. Hanuman is ever ready Hanuman. Right? Big work, small work, everything he will do to please Ram. Right? The devotee should be ever ready Hanuman. Or acting always in the loving service of Krishna. Detached. So what will happen? What will happen? Because it is stuck. Right? This is a science. Look at this in the board. This Jeev is completely stuck in that body which is made of the three gunas. It is a gross body and a subtle body made by the three gunas, and it has a witch which is attaching that soul, making the soul stuck to that gross and subtle body.
Yes.
What is the binding force between the soul and the subtle and gross body? It is called Maya Shakti, and it is a witch. Alright? When you come next Sunday, I'm going to sing this song. Jiva Jago, Gura Chandra Bhaya. Ota Nibra, Yao Maya, Pisha Chira. The sitting in the lap of a witch called Maya. Very nice. You know, you are sitting in the lap of a witch. Jiva Jago, wake up, wake up. With attachment to Krishna consciousness or acting always in the loving service of Krishna, detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. When you start doing things for Krishna, you no longer want to cook for yourself. Okay? You want to cook to please Krishna. It's a practice. You don't want to go shopping for yourself. You will go to shop because it is for Krishna. You wouldn't want to speak unless it has relationship to Krishna. Therefore, no one should try to be detached from Krishna consciousness at any stage of life. So be detached from the material activities, but never give up your Krishna conscious activities. The day you give up your Krishna conscious activities, you are immediately under the grip of Maya. The whole purpose of detachment from all kinds of sense attachment is ultimately to become situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness. So again, the example of the caterpillar is given. So a caterpillar, so it goes from one leaf to the next. And you know it has many legs, right? So it crawls forward, pushes its body, crawls. And it doesn't give up the other leaf until it is firmly situated on the next leaf. So this is how the soul has to crawl out of material attachment and sense activities, crawl steadily onto the leaf of Krishna consciousness, the platform of Krishna consciousness. Alright? You should not at any time give up that leaf which is your platform of Krishna consciousness. If you give it up, what will happen?
You fall back.
You fall. You are trying to come out from the leaf of material life. You want to enter the leaf of spiritual life, transcendence. You are crawling. If suddenly you say, oh no, I don't want it. Right? I don't want it. You give up your activities in Krishna consciousness. You want. Alright? So it's very intricate. Text 35. Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna
Paradharma swanushthita Swadharme nidham shreya Param dharmo vayavaha Shreyan, far better. Swadharma, one's prescribed duties. Vigunha, even faulty. Paradharmat, than duties mentioned for others. Su anushtit, perfectly done. Swadharme, in one's prescribed duties. Nidhanam, destruction. Shreya, better. Paradharma, duties prescribed for others. Bhaya avaha, dangerous. It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than others' duties perfectly. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties. For the following another's path is dangerous. Purport. One should therefore discharge his prescribed duties in full Krishna consciousness rather than those prescribed duties for others. Materially prescribed duties are duties enjoined according to one's psychological condition. Under the spell of the modes of material nature, spiritual duties are as ordered by the spiritual master for transcendental service of Krishna. By whatever material or spiritual, one should stick to his prescribed duties even up to death, rather than imitate others' prescribed duties. Duties on the spiritual platform and duties on the material platform may be different, but the principle of following the authorized direction is always good for the performer. When one is under the spell of the modes of material nature, one should follow the prescribed rule for his particular situation and should not imitate others. For example, a Brahmana who is in the mode of goodness is non-violent, whereas a Kshatriya who is in the mode of passion is allowed to be violent. As such, for a Kshatriya, it is better to be vanquished following the rules of violence than to imitate a Brahmana who follows the principles of non-violence. Everyone has to cleanse his heart by a gradual process, not abruptly. However, when one transcends the modes of material nature and is fully situated in Krishna consciousness, he can perform anything and everything under the direction of bona fide spiritual master. In that complete stage of Krishna consciousness, the Kshatriya may act as a Brahmana or a Brahmana may act as a Kshatriya. In the transcendental stage, the distinctions of the material world do not apply. For example, Vishwamitra was originally Kshatriya, but later on he acted as a Brahmana, whereas Parshurama was a Brahmana, but later on he acted as a Kshatriya. Being transcendentally situated, they could do so, but as long as one on the other platform, one